Hi, cellist. So today we're going to be talking about the parts of your cello as well as parts of your bows. So let's start up here where you have your scroll and then your pegs. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have something called the posture peg. Most of the time you don't really want to be messing around with your pegs because those are for big adjustments. Have your teacher help you out with that, or watch my how to tune your cello video. In the middle you have something called the peg box, and then right down here you have the nut, and then your strings A, D, G, and C. Your fingerboard, where you're gonna place your fingers. The bridge. The bridge is gonna help hold up the strings. A lot of people think that the bridge is actually glued onto the cello, but that's a really common misconception. It's actually not. So if you unwind all of your strings, it's actually going to collapse. If the bridge collapses, there's something called the sound post, which is inside your cello. If you can take a peek, that sound post is going to collapse as well. So whenever you're changing a string, try not to unscrew all of them at once. You have your upper bout right here. C bout, you have one here, one here. F hole. The F hole is going to help project your sound. Tailpiece. The tailpiece is going to help you hold up the strings as well. Fine tuners. These are going to be your daily adjustments, small adjustments. And then lastly, we have the end pin down here, which you can adjust accordingly to your height. So let's talk a little bit about the bow. So you have the frog over here. The black part is called the frog. The tip right over here. And usually I'll say to my students, go to the frog, which means you're going to start at the beginning of the bow. Go to the tip. And then you go to the tip of the bow. You have your screw here, which you can easily loosen and tighten your bow. Just remember, after every time you practice, you should be loosening your bow. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, that's usually how I have my students remember it. And then you have your stick over here. And then your bow hair, which you should never really be touching. So common question that I get is, how tight should your bow be? Usually my general rule of thumb is place your bow at the middle, and then gently tap your index finger down and see if the tension is just about right so that the stick can still touch your bow hair. So if your stick does not touch your bow hair, that means your bow is a little bit too tight and you're gonna have to loosen it. If you're able to easily touch your bow hair, then you have to tighten it just a little bit. It means it's just a little bit too loose. And then I think lastly we have the winding, which kind of just secures this whole thing together. And I think that is about it. Oh, and the furrow, which kind of holds the bow hair. Yep, and that's about it. So those are your cello parts and your bow parts.